Hi, this is Hubert from the Libra Lures team. I invite you to watch this video where we will present all our latest Predator series lures for pike, zander, and also perch. Up until now, you probably associated the Predator series mainly with effective perch lures ranging in size from 1.75 inches to 3 inches. There were 3 models in that range: Embryon Twister, Kraken Shad, and Embryon Shad. Now we're expanding this lineup, and you'll find Kraken Shads, Embryon Shads, and Embryon Twisters in sizes starting from 1.75 inches, not stopping at 3, but going all the way up to 8 inches. To keep this video organized, we'll start with the smallest sizes and finish with the largest ones. Here we have the 4-inch Kraken Shad. You'll find it in packaging like this. Each pack contains 6 of our lures. The same goes for the 4-inch Embryon Shad. Both of these soft baits come in 12 proven colors. You'll find them in these kinds of blister pack share. You can see the Kraken Shad, which measures 10 centimeters. The 4-inch version weighs 7.5 grams. These soft baits will work well for you when targeting perch, pike, and also zander. Next up is the 5-inch Embryon Shad, which weighs 15 grams and measures 12.5 centimeters, a classic Polish size if you want to fish for pike. This belly already creates quite a bit of commotion in the water, which you'll see for yourselves in just a moment. A very nice, easy to use lure that works even with the lightest weight. By adding more weight, you can also effectively catch zander, so it's a very versatile choice. And with a wide range of colors available, there's nothing left to do but grab it and fish, because it will really get the job done on many different waters, in case you want to fish for predators. And here we have the 5-inch Embryon Twist, which weighs 13.5 grams. It's an excellent option if you want to fish for pike with light tackle near water lilies, reed beds on rivers, ponds, as well as large lakes. An excellent choice, especially during the summer season. This lure is incredibly simple. If you're just starting out with spinning, this is truly a worthy option to try fishing with this soft bait. The tail creates a lot of commotion in the water, which effectively entices even lazy pike to strike. In a moment, you'll be able to see for yourselves how this lure behaves in the water, as well as how to rig it properly. The 5-inch twisty embryos come in packages containing 4 of these lures, also available in 12 different colors. Staying with the 5-inch lure size, here we have the Kraken Shad, which is my personal favorite when it comes to zander fishing. Take a look at how this lure looks in its packaging. You'll find 4 pieces inside, each weighing 14 grams, and it's an excellent imitation of a bleak, as well as other fish that zander feed on, especially in rivers. But we already know, even from you, since these lures are already available for purchase in stores, that they work well not only on Polish reservoirs, but also abroad. Although I said this is my favorite for zander, I have to admit that during my private fishing trips, I most often caught pike with it. See for yourselves. Nice little pike. This little pike is going back into the water. Now in front of you, the 5-inch Embryon Shad and the 5-inch Kraken Shaddies are the basic choices if you want to effectively fish for pike with light tackle. You also pair them with a hook in size 5/0 or 6/0. You can go a bit bigger or smaller depending on your preference. And as for the weight, we use anything from 5 to 35 grams here. And with that, the lure looks great in the water. And here we have the 5-inch Embryon Twist. We most often rig this soft bait with hooks in size 4/0 or 5/0. Hop. And this is how it looks. It works best with weights from 5 to 30 grams. I wouldn't overload this soft bait too much because its main advantage is this tail here, which moves really nicely even with very light weights. Anyway, see for yourselves now. And here we have the 6-inch Embryon Shad, which weighs 23.5 grams. It's an excellent option if you want to fish for pike with larger lures, because this particular soft bait creates a lot of commotion in the water thanks to its distinctive belly and wide paddle tail. When retrieved steadily, it really stirs up a lot of commotion in the water. The same can be said about the 6-inch Kraken shad, which weighs 24 grams. What's great is that this lure perfectly imitates small chubs in rivers, which, as experienced anglers surely know, are often preyed upon by zander and also by catfish. And of course, pike won't say no to this type of lure either. For 6-inch soft baits, you can also use the screw-in head rigging method, where you screw it in from the mouth side, of course. Just screw it in. Then add a stinger hook. You can place it here, either using the dedicated eyelet on the belly side or on the back side. In that case, the soft bait will obviously behave differently. It will also behave differently because we don't have a jig head here, just a simple stinger hook, which doesn't stiffen the bait and allows it to move freely. We screw in the head and attach the eyelet from underneath. As I mentioned before, I personally prefer to rig the stinger hook around the belly area because pike most often attack the lure from below when there's some depth. We hook it here, which for the 6-inch Embryon shad is around the belly area. And that's how it looks. You've already seen the 5-inch version of the Embryon twist, and here you have the 7-inch Embryon twist, which are lures that come individually packaged. The 7 and 8-inch sizes come in these kinds of packages. In a moment, we'll move on to the next lures from the Predator series, but here I'm already holding the 8-inch Kraken, which, it's worth noting, is hand-painted by us. I'll also use the 8-inch Embryon shade here. Here you can even see it already rigged and ready for action. We paid an incredible amount of attention to the need for various details in these lures. Pay special attention to this scale detail. It's really nicely placed here around the back. This applies to both the Embryon Kraken and the Embryon twist tail. But here the rubber is also hand painted, which holds the color really well. A lot of work has truly gone into this. Additionally, all the fins, which not only serve as decorative elements, making the lure look really attractive to us and to the fish, but these fins also play a role once we start using the lure. They add extra action, which can be especially effective in tough conditions, such as heavily overfished waters. You'll find these smallest details as well in the 6-inch Kraken and also in the 5-inch Embryon. Here too, there's a scale pattern applied, which is present on this lure. You may have already seen the rigged Embryon shad. Here you can see a basic setup, which is a stinger with 2 treble hooks and a bullet weight at the front. However, we'll start with the Embryon twist tail. Here I already have a ready-made rig, which we recommend specifically for fishing with this lure. So 1 treble hook is pinned in here, actually with a pin from the side, the belly side. We actually believe that placing the anchor on the belly side is the best method for this kind of soft bait, because pike most often attack it from below. To make this kind of rig, we need a few components. We start with a jig head. Here the important element is this eyelet at the bottom. It makes it much easier for us to position the stinger hook. In fact, it makes it possible, and we can adjust whether for some soft baits we want to place the stinger on top, on the bottom, or even both on top and bottom. It all depends on you. Moving on, we need swivels here. These swivels can be like the ones I have here in a chain like this, or packed individually. They will also come in handy, and if we're using swivels, we can't forget about split rings, because we need to connect everything together somehow. Additionally, we take screw-in inserts with us. If we use only add-on weights attached to our soft bait, then the rotation of the weight is much greater. I'll talk a bit more about that later. So, what else can we include here? Of course, the treble hook. There's really nothing more to add here. It's sharp and strong treble hooks. Here's another interesting tip. You can always attach a more brightly colored element like this, which serves as a sort of target for predatory fish to strike at your soft bait. It's a nice addition. It's not necessary, but it's entirely up to you. In the embroidered shade set, you might have noticed an element called pins. Pins are also a very important component because they give us two options. We can stick the treble hook into the lure. In that case, one of the hooks is actually inactive because its purpose is to keep the treble hook attached to our lure, but we can increase effectiveness by inserting this pin. But here it's important to consider the type of fishery you're fishing in, because if there are a lot of snags, it's better to avoid using these pins. Simply stick the treble hook into the soft plastic and fish the spot that way. On the other hand, if there aren't many plants, branches, or snags in the fishery, we insert this pin into the soft plastic, and thanks to that, as it moves freely while retrieving our lure, it actually increases our effectiveness and the chances of a proper hook set. Another element we can add to our Lurezno, it's not necessary, but you can use them if you like, are these rattles, which can further attract fish to strike. We're continuing the series of lures for those who fish with really big soft plastics. The 8-inch Kraken shad, you've probably already seen it at Ribomania 2025. It weighs as much as 60 grams, so here we need a fairly strong rod. I recommend casting rods, especially if you plan to fish for more than just a few hours. Let's say you're going on all-day trips, a casting rod definitely lets you cover spots with less energy expenditure. Your hand simply gets tired more slowly, and that's a big advantage. This lure is also hand-painted. You can see the nice eyes, the distinctive scales, and the fins, which give this lure extra action. And it has to be said that this lure will definitely work well for you when fishing for pike. And don't be surprised if, even with a lure like this, you often catch undersized fish, because thanks to its action, this lure tempts every predator to strike. And finally, the last one in the Predator series, also 8 inches long, also packed individually, also hand-painted with numerous details you can notice on its body. Embroidered shad, 8 inches. Here its belly is already really nicely visible, but it will definitely also be noticeable during its action in the water. Here we have a red rig version. Also, as it seems to me, in my opinion, this is the most basic rigging method. Here we use 2 treble hooks due to the characteristics of this lure. It's good if one treble hook is attached here around the head area, and the other at the end of this belly section that transitions into the tail. This way you can be sure that if a fish attacks our lure, it will definitely get hooked. Here a trick with just a screw-in insert is used. Look, I'll unscrew it now. We detach the treble hook here. The treble hook is without pins. This also slightly changes the action of the lure in the water. Here we have just the screw-in insert, which allows us to attach a tungsten bullet weight of the appropriate size using a split ring. So if you feel while fishing that you want to fish heavier or lighten the weight, you can easily swap out the weight, although it's not quite as quick as it sounds. When we use just screw-in lead jig head, the mobility here is more limited. With a tungsten bullet weight, you have a wider and faster range of fishing options. And the tungsten bullet weight, because it is heavier than a regular lead one, thanks to this, it doesn't stand out as much against our lure. Personally, I prefer to use tungsten weights not only when fishing for pike, but also, as you probably know, when trout fishing. But here, this approach isn't necessary either, because as you probably know, you can normally fish with just a screw-in head like this. Kraken shoulder, you can see the same rigging system, but there's a small note. The Kraken shot is a much slimmer lure than the previously mentioned embryo shot, and this lure requires slightly different lengths of stinger hooks. You can easily adjust this yourself or by buying the right ready-made stinger hooks in the store. Certainly, all stores that carry our lures will be happy to help you choose the right set. Thank you very much for watching this material. If you have any questions, the comment section is there for you. And you can also write to us on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. We're available for you there as well. Also, check out our account on X, subscribe, and like this video, because we're preparing more and more content for you, not just about lures, but also from the water side. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.